Wow, everybody, I'm standing at a place at Gettysburg I've never stood before. This is the track that we are trying to preserve here, that we hope you will help us preserve. I am facing north right now. Off to the left, you might be able to hear some distant traffic of the Baltimore Pike, a couple acres over in that direction. The visitor center is not 700 yards there. The Baltimore Pike is maybe 200 yards. And on that pike, of course, during the Battle of Gettysburg, you have basically a third of the Union Army marching to and fro the battle. This is some of the 6 acres we are trying to preserve right over here. And maybe the best thing about all this is that, you know, the trust around 2011 or 2012 was able to save several acres off in that direction. The Gettysburg Foundation has preserved a couple of acres off in that direction as well. And the structures that were there are now removed as well. And you know what, on this deal, the Gettysburg Foundation sees how important it is and are going to get involved, and they're actually helping to provide some of the funds for this very, very important track. You might not think that this area, sort of look at your maps, near the Baltimore Pike and sort of between there and Culp's Hill isn't significant, but we're going to try to convince you otherwise as we join Dr. Carol Reardon, historical advisor to the president of the Gettysburg Foundation. What are we looking at right in front of us here?
Well, first of all, you got to understand only the cool people come here on a Saturday afternoon. And that's why Gary and I find ourselves right here. What are we looking at? Lower Culp's Hill. If you look straight through the trees, there's a car traveling right there. You can tell where the park roads are. We're looking at Lower Culp's Hill. I've never seen it from this perspective before. I bet you haven't either. So that's one of the really cool things about being here. What part of the story can we tell if we're standing on this piece of the ground? If there's one brigade in the Union Army we almost never talk about, it's the brigade of Colonel Archibald McDougall. New Yorker, lawyer, just became a colonel in the Union Army back in, I think, September of 1862. First time in acting brigade command. He's going to be involved in this fight. He was part of Williams's division that marched off to help down on the other end of the Union line. Now it's on the evening of this, late in the evening of the second day, and he comes back, and what does he find, among other things? His old positions up on Lower Culp's Hill are full of Confederates. He's ticked. He wants them back. So does Williams. Well, that basically is going to set up the third day. And Archibald McDougall is going to get his wish. His men are going to come across this ground. 2 New York regiments, a regiment from Maryland, 2 Connecticut regiments, and the 46th Pennsylvania will sweep across this ground, and ultimately, to kind of seal the whole Confederate, the whole action against the Confederate line, they're going to sweep across this ground and reclaim their original lines on Lower Culp's Hill. How awesome is that?
And awesome is the word I would use too. Look, I mean, how tall Lower Culp's Hill is over there. I hope another car comes by, but I can even see Geary Avenue from here. This is the boundary to the National Park Service. In other words, by preserving this land, we can be able to help to make, let me see if I can get this right, a basically contiguous set of preserved land from behind Seminary Ridge over near, say, the Longstreet Tower and the Eisenhower Farm, all the way across through the wheat field, across the way, across Cemetery Ridge, and then onto the backside, past the Visitor Center, and then all the way across the Baltimore Pike and to Culp's Hill, and maybe even onto Wolf Hill. So this is a matter of really piecing the park together. This is the last largest piece of unpreserved or unprotected land along the Baltimore Pike. There's a few others still, but none are larger than this one. And we really hope you'll get involved. We'll have a link for you here where you can learn more about it. And thank you so much for everything you do and for supporting battlefield preservation.